I'm Sam,
I'm Cindy,
and
and
we
we
are
are
the
the Dorvils.
Dorvilles. So today's going to be a day that we have to dive really deep. So we're going to talk about our infertility struggles, which I really felt like was the most challenging part of our marriage, since our relationship was kind of easy and for us to at least communicate and get along. But then we met this black cloud that kind of followed us for a very long time. And this is the first time we actually are really even talking about this to anybody.
Mm-hmm. I mean, challenges can either break you or help you to grow. They definitely stretched us individually and as a couple, and we definitely grew together through the process. So even though it was hard and challenging, we looked to each other for strength and support, and I think we came out of it stronger than we went into it.
Yeah, for sure. So, but before we dive into that, so let's start with a little check-in.
What do you want to know?
What do you want to tell me?
I guess I'll share some kid stories from today. The first one I didn't tell you. We were playing soccer outside, Kaden and I. It's part of our PE class now that we're doing a little homeschool. So Kaden kept trying to kick the goal, and I was the goalie, so I was blocking it.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, he got it through my legs and into the goal. And he was like, "Thank you, Lord."
That sounds just like him.
Yeah, so just to see the excitement that he scored, but also that he said, "Thank you, Lord," that makes me feel good, knowing that, we're doing our job, giving him that solid foundation, and that he knows God and he is thankful for the things that he's able to do.
Yeah, so this weekend was a big family weekend for us. We got to dedicate the twins in front of our church, which was pretty exciting. And we had a lot of support. A lot of our family was there. A lot of the church family was there because they know our story. They know our journey and how long it took for us to even get to this point. We also were able to surprise their godparents that they're going to be godparents. So, which was fun experience, emotional as well. Their godparents have played a big pivotal role. If you don't know, Donna and Mark, or part of the story is they were the twins' original foster parents, and we'll kind of dive into that a little bit later when we get to that section. But very important role in overseeing the kids, while they were still in foster care. Great people, great parents, great base, great foundation, and a great relationship with the Lord that was for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were able to dedicate Kaden when he was 6 months old. They call it baby dedication. Obviously, the twins are not babies anymore. So they were the oldest ones up there. And we also had our foster baby with us, who we call Baby Taco. And the whole congregation laughed when Sam announced him as Baby Taco.
Everybody loves Baby Taco. He brings a certain type of energy that I can't really describe, but everybody feels it when he's around, or you're holding him. He just has just a calm ball of energy. And we feel it too in our home, since we have been fostering. You would think when we add 4 kids to the mix, it would make it a little crazier, but it actually made it calmer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're all enjoying having Baby Taco around.
Yeah, so current news. So there's been a big talk about Cheesecake Factory. Um, would you be okay if a man took you on a first date to Cheesecake Factory?
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
There's talk about that?
you haven't heard?
No.
Oh.
Is it some memes or something?
No. What happened was this girl went on a date and she brought out her phone and took a live and was, almost like talking down to this guy for taking her on a first date to Cheesecake and how she deserves better or deserves more. So I just want to say there's levels to this. All right. So
it's not fast casual. It's above that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to steak on a first date. You got to feel them out first. Like, it was a worth steak?
Exactly.
Cheesecake is I would say, an upper middle. Yeah. I wouldn't even put it right in it's an upper middle. Yeah. I mean, their cheesecake is so good.
So what happened, since you don't know what happened after that, there was a list of 20 places that got released of where girls will not go on a first date, and Cheesecake was at the very top.
What?
Can you believe that?
Above Red Lobster?
Above
Olive Garden?
Above Red Lobster?
Olive Garden?
I can't believe it, but it is what it is. I think you got to make an investment first. I'll share a quick story.
Denny's?
Denny's. I'll share a quick story. So one of the things that attracted me to you was pretty early on in our relationship. Whether I would take it or not, you were very quick to be like, here you go. I'll split it, or here's my card, da 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 da. And what I wanted to say, what that told me is you were in it for me, not in it for yourself, right? So now I have no problem, taking care of every bill. And then the other thing is, what I appreciate and have always appreciated from you is whether it's a meal that I cook or a dinner that I take care of, you make sure that you always say thank you, which is, I think that's what any guy ever wants, is that sort of appreciation, that not even the small, putting a meal on the table and cooking is unappreciated. Right. Mm-hmm. So what I would say to a lot of the females now, make the investment in the guy, right? If you want lobster, you want, 5-star, you got to make that sort of investment. Guys don't want to pay that. You end up not going on dates just because of that. Right. Mm-hmm. Not going to happen. So I had to throw my 2 cents in there.
I'll have to check out the video.
And well, you got to check it out. It's funny. So where do we start?
Where do we leave off?
We left off, we got married at the courthouse. Okay, so now we're planning for our wedding. So you wanna take it from here and kind of just talk about what that planning looked like and some of the hurdles that we had to cross for that?
Okay, so when we set our actual wedding ceremony date, it was based on me going to med school, and it was the weekend before my trimesters, or in between trimesters. So that's why we ended up choosing the date, and also the number 28, because we met on July 28th, and then we got married in the courthouse August 28th. So having our wedding April 28th just, kind of stuck with the theme. So planning that was stressful.
It was stressful.
We had very limited funds, and we planned to do a lot ourselves in terms of decorating, flowers, all of that. We were lucky that the venue we used, his brother had used, so they threw in some extras for us. We used a photographer, videographer that was friends of the family, so he gave us a good deal, and he also spread out the payments much more generously than going with someone else would have. So that helped.
Also, during this time, I was transitioning from one business to the other, and we just had a massive fire at my body shop, which was deflating to me, right? Because that's your main source of income, and you have this big fire, and then you have a makeshift office. I need an office to work. I need an office to make money, and then we have this wedding that's just right around the corner. Not a ton of family help. Don't come from a ton of means. They help where they could, but the reality is we had to stand on our 2 feet and pay for our wedding. So that that increased the stakes, significantly for sure.
Yeah, Sam was very defeated after the shop fire. He felt like he could not go on with getting more dealer reps, which is where we were trying to make the bulk of our money by signing on reps under us to use the auction services to buy cars. He felt like we didn't have a place to meet, so we couldn't keep doing that. So I stayed up till midnight one night working on the second half of the shop. There was the body shop area, and then there was a paint shop area. So I converted part of the paint shop into an office, used curtains and clothes hanging rods to section off an area. I painted, I decorated, made it look all nice, and I said, all right, here we go. We've got our space. Now let's get on the phone.
Mama was like,
let's get on Craigslist.
She was like,
let's advertise.
No excuses. I'm not gonna lie. I saw this office and it was makeshift, and I just saw the level of work that she put in, and I had no reason not to crank away. It gave me hope. It did, and it did it. I felt confident in meeting new people at the office, makeshift or not. And we hustled our butts off and got this wedding paid for.
Yeah, I sold my car.
Yep, you sold your car.
We went down to one car.
We went down to one car, and we stayed down to one car for a few years. Yeah. At least a couple. Yeah, a few years. Yeah, a few years.
But basically, we made about $20,000 in a 2 to 3 month time span. It was
like 30. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was short window. We had to come up with a lot of cash, and we got it done. So that's our wedding story.
Yeah, so we got to wedding day. It was a beautiful ceremony. It had been raining all week. The day of was a little drizzly in the morning, but then by the afternoon it cleared. It was beautiful. We had a string quartet. I came out in a horse-drawn carriage.
Yeah.
So it was a beautiful ceremony. Cocktail hour was awesome. The food was good. Once we got inside for dinner, I feel like that's where things kind of got blurry, and there's just so much going on. You literally should have a video of your wedding because you will forget so much of it.
You will. And there's so many moving parts. There's so much going on. So many people to say hello to, so many people to greet. It goes fast. But it was beautiful, and I wasn't nervous that day.
Yeah, we got a lot of compliments. Everyone had a lot of fun. The DJ and the MC were great, so everyone was on the dance floor, and we really enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah, a few people said their feet hurt because they were dancing so much. All right, so
yeah, we did it.
Yeah, we did we did our thing for sure. Here's a few pictures of what our wedding looked like. We get married, and then now the night's winding down, and we get back to the room, right? And we're so exhausted.
I had a migraine.
Yeah, she had a migraine. My feet hurt. I was sweaty. We're just kind of like, ugh. Do we even try to do it tonight?
Obligation.
We had an obligation. We couldn't say that we didn't do it on our wedding, but I tell you what, it was borderline. It was questionable.
And then we had a honeymoon the next day. We went on a cruise, and that was a lot of fun. But we get home, And now we decided prior to even having the wedding that we wanted to start trying for kids right away. We had been together now for a good amount of time. We had done some traveling. We felt like we were ready. So we started trying right away. And month after month went by and nothing was happening. So it was about a year, because that's when they say if nothing happens within the first year, then you might want to start looking into different testing options. A year went by and there was nothing. So we started considering doing some infertility testing. We actually went to Denver on vacation, and that was the first time that my period was ever late. It was 11 days late, and I think on day 10 or 11 is when I tested. And I was really hopeful, really excited. This was probably about March of 2014, and it was negative, and I got my period the next day. Now, knowing what we know, I think that was probably the first chemical pregnancy that I had, considering my periods were very regular. So that was disappointing.
That was. I remember.
Really
we were hopeful. We were on. It was snowy out. We were in this cabin up in the mountains, and we were hopeful. We've been trying for over a year. At that point, so we were excited and hopeful that you know how it is. You go get the test, and you don't know what
you
it's
pee on the
say.
stick, and you wait.
You wait, you wait, and you're hopeful that it's gonna come out the way you want it, but the reality is it did not. So that was our first of many letdowns. So
yeah, so that was our cue to start looking into the testing, and I went to my OBGYN, started there, did some blood work, some genetic testing. I'm not even sure what other processes we went through at that point. It was probably an ultrasound to make sure everything looked good. I'm not even sure what else. But anyway, whatever we went through, it was all coming back normal. So we're like, okay, this is a good sign, but also frustrating, because why isn't anything happening? Sam was convinced that it had to be something going on with me. So once I was done with all my routine standard testing and everything was normal, we decided to have Sam tested. And that's where we got the news that it was male factor infertility, and we would have to most likely do IVF in order to conceive.
yeah, so believe it or not, there's frankly no research on male infertility or issues, and when we started looking into it, there's all of this tests and all of this research on female reproductive health, but in males there's frankly nothing. And if you pay attention to the numbers through the years, they've dwindled, right, in all males. And what they keep doing is they just recalibrate the normal for
I'm pretty sure the statistics were in the 50s. A normal sperm count would be 200 million per milliliter, or whatever the standard of measurement is. And now what they consider average is 20 million. So from 200 million to 20 million in 50, 60, 70 years. That's a huge decrease. And no one's talking about the causes or why that's happening.
And frankly, no research. All right. So we felt like we were stuck a little bit. So we looked into some different options. I had to go see a urologist, and I had something called varicocele, right? So they're just like veins that kind of strangle your testicles from fully operating the way they
decreases blood flow.
Yeah, decreases blood flow, right? So I had a surgery to improve that, and then right after the surgery they do a sample, right? And I go down to University of Miami Hospital, I give the sample, and did it call me in like a day or so?
The first one was actually implantation at our fertility doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it was the same day, that afternoon. He was like, we're not even going to save the sample, because we had asked if it's good and it's improved count, can you freeze it? And he said, we're not even going to save the sample.
He said the sample was completely dead.
Completely dead. Nothing moving.
Like, imagine having surgery to improve this issue, and then you get a sample that's completely dead. I don't even know what you were thinking.
Panic. Panic.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. Right? I don't even know what I was thinking. I didn't even. It didn't even seem right. It didn't seem like that would even make sense.
If you're interested in more of our content, please hit like and subscribe.
That something like that would happen, but a little further down the line, and maybe that's just kind of how this procedure works. Down the line, we did another sample, and we did a rebound, a significant rebound, good enough to freeze it and to move towards the next steps of getting pregnant and creating a family.
Yeah, so we decided we were going to go through with IVF. We were looking to start in the spring of 2015. We went away on vacation first to Turks and Caicos with some good friends. And it turns out that when we got home, we found out a week or two later that we got pregnant. So we were super excited, called my doctor. They scheduled us for an ultrasound it was about 10 and a half weeks. That was the earliest that they could get us in. And that's pretty much their standard at that practice, is at least after 8, but they prefer closer to 10. So that mark was right before we're traveling to Connecticut for a friend's wedding. So we would have been about 11 weeks at the time. So we're like, okay, it's not 12, we're not out of the first trimester, but if this ultrasound looks good, then when we get home and we're around friends and family, we'll tell everybody.
Yeah.
So we were excited for this appointment. We go in and they start the ultrasound on the belly, and we're not seeing anything. And immediately my heart sank, because I was on all the apps. I knew what it should be looking like by that point. So then they said, well, let's do a vaginal ultrasound. And then it was confirmed they couldn't see anything. Well, we couldn't see anything. Whatever they were measuring, they said looked like it stopped growing around 7 weeks. I still don't know what they were measuring, because even when we had our son at 7 weeks, you could see something. And I don't recall seeing anything in that ultrasound. Yeah. Which was strange.
And I remember, when you get pregnant, you're not supposed to tell anybody, just for reasons like this. And the closer it got, further down the line, I was excited a little bit, so I would secretly go, "I'm gonna be a dad. I'm gonna be a dad," right? And I just remember it was one night, we were laying in the bed, and I remember touching your belly, and it's weird, because I have sometimes these different feelings, right? And I had one time I reached over and I touched your belly, and I was like, oh, I could feel his energy, right? I could feel.
Yeah, he really felt like it was a boy.
I felt like it was a boy. I felt like I could feel his soul kind of brewing in there. And then
so we called him Nemo.
We called him Nemo
for the strong swimmer that got there.
Yeah, exactly. So, but then there was one night, and right before we got all of this news, I reached over and I touched her belly, and she said to me, she's like, "What do you feel?" And I was kind of like, "I don't feel anything." Right. And then shortly right after that is when we went to the doctor and got the news that, that pregnancy was over.
Yeah. And obviously we were both devastated. Probably cried the whole way home. A little bit later that afternoon, I was on Facebook and I saw a guy that I went to college with posted a puppy and he had a previous litter from the same parents. He had 2 of those dogs. So he said, they're great dogs. If anyone's looking, there's a couple puppies left in this current litter. Let me know. So he connected me to the breeder, and I talked to her, and I was like, Sam, we need this puppy.
She didn't say it like that. She was like, I need this puppy. We need a puppy. And I'm thinking, but we live in a condo.
We live in a condo with no pets allowed.
They don't allow pets. She was like, we need this puppy.
And Sam was scared of dogs.
I was scared of dogs. And that's a different story. Growing up the way I did, wild dogs everywhere. And she's like, I need this puppy. I was like, okay, you get this puppy.
Yep. So we set it up. We were going up to Pennsylvania for a friend's wedding. The breeder was in New York. So we were going to swing through New York on the way to Connecticut, pick up the puppy, and then stay at my parents' or my mom's house for a week. The night before we're supposed to pick up the puppy, actually right before the wedding, we get a call from the breeder, and she said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I thought I've been communicating with you and your husband. I just met up with this couple, and when I said hi, Cindy, to his wife, she said, my name's not Cindy. And then I realized all of a sudden that I was talking to 2 completely different couples, and I gave them the dog. But I have one more dog that's a boy.
Uh-oh.
And this had been a girl, and we already bought all the girl puppy stuff to bring up with us and made her name tag. So now we had to think about possibly getting a boy. And that just wasn't what we wanted.
No, just for belly rubs reasons. If we're being honest, right? Just belly rub, that's not going to work.
No, I just envisioned my girl, Bentley.
Yeah.
And had all the pink stuff, and I just wanted a girl.
Yeah, for sure. So
the bows, the dress up, all the fun stuff.
So she quickly looks. We're in Pennsylvania. She quickly looks up a breeder in Pennsylvania. We're in Amish country, and we drive out to this Amish farm, and then there's these two dogs.
Yeah, the morning after the wedding, we drive out. It was only 45 minutes away.
Yeah. So we get there, and there's 2 puppies in this litter, and there's a boy, and then there's a girl, right?
Yeah, Bentley.
Oh yeah, a boy and a girl. But anyways, or I don't know if it's 2 girls or a boy and a girl.
A boy and a girl.
Boy and a girl. But anyways, so there's this one dog just kind of pouncing on this other one, like, nibbling on its ear and stuff like that. And Cindy goes, why don't we get that one? I'm like, absolutely not. I know personalities, right? So I'm like, how about we get the one that's getting pounced on? Because I just feel better about that situation. And probably one of the best things we've ever done.
Yes, she has been amazing. Even from the beginning, I mean, they were only 10 weeks old. So when we got home, we were at my mom's. We kept her in her carrier overnight just to help her feel safe. And I think she woke up 5:30 the first morning. And then the second morning woke up at 7:30 and has been sleeping through the night ever since. Yeah. She's never given us a hard time about anything. She doesn't ask to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
She doesn't bark unless there's somebody at the door. She's so good with all the kids that have been in our house.
Yeah, teddy bears were bred to be emotional support animals, and that's exactly what
a Shih Tzu Bichon mix. They call him teddy bear.
Yeah, so she was definitely an emotional support animal for sure.
Yes. So out of that first heartache came Bentley, and that was a very necessary and welcome and positive outcome for the situation.
Yeah, for sure.
But then obviously we still want the baby. The puppy was a good distraction for a while, but we decided, we're still going to pursue fertility treatments. I believe it was August that we started the shots and all the medications, and anyone who's gone through that knows what a pain in the ass that is. Mm-hmm. It's just physically, emotionally, spiritually draining.
Mm-hmm.
The hormones cause a lot of different moods that I'm not used to experiencing.
And I've never seen or experienced before.
Yeah.
So that's just not your normal vibe.
I didn't feel like myself, but it was all worth it for the possibility of a baby. So we do all the shots. We get 16 eggs, but then only 9 fertilized. And then out of the 9, only 2 made it to transfer day. So we go into transfer day, we've only got the 2 left, so we're like, all right, let's just put both of them. But when we go into the room and he does the ultrasound, he realized that my ovaries were 2 or 3 times the size
overstimulated
of my uterus, completely overstimulated, which is why it was so painful after the retrieval. I was in pain for over a week because my ovaries were so hyperstimulated. So we had to do a frozen transfer, wait for my ovaries to calm down, everything to calm down, which meant the next month doing more shots all over again. Those ones were in the butt, so Sam had to do those ones. And then October of, was it 2015 is when we're doing this. October 2015, we finally do our IVF cycle. We get a positive on the first test. 2 days later, you go back to make sure your HCG is doubling, and it went down by 1, which obviously means it's not doing well. And they said, it's another chemical pregnancy. And unfortunately, because that was our 2 embryos, we were out of luck and out of money.
Yeah, so that was another defeating blow. And one of the most challenging parts during this time is, you're going through this, right? You don't really want to tell anybody because obviously it's a struggle. It's a sensitive topic, right? You want to have a baby, and then everybody's coming around. When are you having a baby? When are you having a baby? You should have a baby already, right? And if it was up to me, would have had a baby yesterday, right? And that's what I want to say to people, but you can't really say that. You don't really tell them, hey, this whole drawn out story. Of
Not
struggle,
to mention the unsolicited advice about, just stop worrying about it. When you don't think about it, it'll happen. Or in the Haitian culture, someone said, you have to step on a pregnant woman's feet and rub her belly.
Oh my gosh. I was like, oh my goodness. All right.
So just a lot of things that people say, obviously good intentions, well-meaning, but it's frustrating for sure.
Frustrating. And then you see this person gets married, and next thing you know, their husband touches them, and then they're pregnant. And then this person gets pregnant, and then this person announces, and this person just gets married, and then they turn around and they're pregnant. And I just remember Cindy saying, "Oh my God, this person just got pregnant. This person just got pregnant," and I would just stay focused and say, all right, that's their story. That's not our story, and we only focus on what we can focus on. And for me, it was important not to go down that rabbit hole because I didn't see a way out of that rabbit hole if we went down there. So that's kind of why I didn't really want to partake. So.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's hard because it's something that you want so badly. But through it, I had faith that it would happen. I've always felt like I was meant to be a mother. And I believed that God had that in store for me. So part of me is like, well, why isn't it happening? Why is it taking so long? Why do I have to go through this? But at the same time, I had the faith knowing that it will happen eventually. If you're interested in more of our content, please hit like and subscribe.